Good morning. Welcome to the Arisen podcast. This is episode number 3. I'm Modangy. Episode number 4.
Yes, it is.
Episode number 4. Yeah, thank you. Coming to you live from Australia via the power of a wayvessel. The other host of this fine podcast here is the man himself, back to back Orna Content Creator of the Year, the most attractive man in all of Scotland, Mr. 300, the Iron Brew Guzzling, Shabbash. Welcome, Shabbash. How are you, mate?
Good morning, Dangy. Nice to see you here. I know you've had to wake up incredibly early to join us tonight, but it's past the big cat's bedtime here, so just giving him a wee lullaby. Your dulcet tones will send him off to sleep quite nicely, but really happy to be here. Episode number 4. Can't quite believe it. And this is probably going to be the biggest one yet, eh?
This is a big deal, this one. And this is kind of, in a sense, a little bit of an emergency podcast because this content needed to be covered pretty urgently. Not a great deal of topics set up to go through, but some really exciting stuff to go through with these recent changes that Odie has kindly graced us with.
Yeah, this is probably one of the most exciting things that I've been waiting for, and is finally here. When we say finally here, it's in beta, so it's not for everyone as this is going out live, but we're fairly confident that Odie's trying to push this out before the end of the month. So this should be going live, for everyone really soon.
Yeah, which is fantastic. So I don't know how we want to kick into this, mate. This is something that we could get excited about every single little element of it, but potentially worth running through the game announcements and nearly going one by one, do you think? Or do you think we just cover some of the light building stuff first?
Shall we go into buildings first and then go through the rest of the update? The buildings we kind of touched on last time that we were expecting, and I know you've had quite a decent amount of time to play around with them and get your hard hat on, your high vis, and build some nice red roof buildings around here.
Yeah, okay. So the building changes, if we were to go through it pretty lightly at the start, we'll probably cover the residences, the town hall, and the Citadel as maybe our starting point. So you have the ability now to build up to 20 residences, which are these little red roofed houses that you can place anywhere in your origin town. And what these little residences do is they actually bring residents in. So you end up having your town scattered with these tiny little people all over the place. Makes the town itself feel a whole lot more populated.
Lively.
Yeah, lively. It's absolutely fantastic. So it's really, really cool just from that standpoint, having the town feel more like it's being populated over time as you create it. I can imagine from a new starter standpoint, going from nothing in their town to building it up and having people moving around is it's pretty exciting and engaging. On top of the residences, we have a building called the Town Hall. So up until now, we've been able to accept some jobs from our keep or our castle or fortress. Now that lives within the town hall instead. So there's not jobs sitting with the keep at all anymore. They're all sitting in the town hall. And as you complete these jobs, it increases the morale of your residents. So you'll be able to see in your town hall what the current population is. Your population is dictated by the amount of residences that you have. So basically it's the residents times 5 is your population.
So you can't get more than 5 out of one residence?
Doesn't appear so, at least at this stage. The maximum population is 100.
Right. I've reached there already. That's higher population than the place I grew up in. But carry on.
There you go. How many residences were in the place you grew up in? Were there 20?
Nah, a bit more than that. Between 60 and 65.
Yeah, there you go. It also shows in the town hall, and I keep looking down. I need a way to glue my phone up near the camera, but it also shows daily income from the residents. So the income's really interesting because that's not just based on the volume of residents or the population that you have. That's actually based on their morale as well. Right. So your income will increase as the morale goes higher.
Everyone loves
the way the morale,
cash.
Yeah. That's it. Well, I mean, there's Orns included in here as well. So this is actually a relatively big deal for early game because, for instance, and I'm not sure how clear it is if I hold up my phone to the camera.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, Dangy. I'll switch onto my screen.
Yeah. Okay, you can do that. So, I love your transitions. So if you have a look, you've got 7% morale right now, and your daily income is 804 Orns.
Yeah, they're not too happy here.
Yeah, my morale is sitting at 37%, and my daily income from gold is 175,000, and Orns is 4,500, so 4,556 Orns. So if you can imagine in the early game getting an extra 5,000 Orns every single day, that's pretty big deal. We're talking about getting a free metallurgy every day.
Yeah, that's pretty nice, eh? Yeah,
it's a really big deal. So I'm not sure what happens once you get the morale to 100%. Your income will keep going up, so we'll see what sort of rates we're getting at that point. But the other impact that this has is there's one additional building called the Citadel. So you can see all your jobs and stuff there in the town hall that you're on right now, Shabbash, and then you've got your Citadel. So the Citadel, it's interesting. Right now you can't see anything. It just says your townspeople do not have an offering for you at this time. But what happens is it seems like based on the morale, it'll be more frequent.
Right.
But about once or twice a day, they'll drop a little gift in there for you.
Twice a day?
Yeah, so I've been getting them probably about twice a day.
Oh, nice.
So it's pretty awesome. And the pool, I'm not sure what it's drawing from yet because it appears that it can be any weapon or armor piece. But also it has things like summoning scrolls. So I've got a summoning scroll twice now.
2 summoning scrolls. And your morale's only 37%.
37% at the moment, yeah. So this is cool. This is really, really cool. To get just free gifts like that for doing your jobs, that's a big deal. So the thing with it that's a little bit tricky to work out yet is what the value is in. If you have a look at your town hall, a lot of your quests will actually be down tiered. So they're not necessarily at the same tier that you play at. So you, Shabbash, you're tier 10 or tier 11 if you'd like to call it that. There's not tier 11 content yet, so tier 10. And you've got a tier 4 quest there. You've got a tier 8 quest there. The Wolfman Warrior one's an interesting one. Those ones are during the day at least. I think I had one for the nighttime Wolfman, which...
What? No.
It was a down-tiered one. So the only way to do it would have been doing gauntlets.
Are you getting confused with time zones again? Because Wolfman Warriors definitely are a nighttime mob.
Oh, Wolfman Warrior is the nighttime one, is it? Okay.
All the wolf guys are.
All of them are. Okay, there you go.
Anyway.
So that for you, you're not going to get that unless you down tier like a fair few gauntlets. To get 10 of them, you'd have to do a lot of tier 4 gauntlets.
Or a lot of world climbing.
Well, yeah, I don't know how frequently they'd spawn for you, really. Right, that's interesting, but I think that this is a cool system.
I mean, currently this is just replace the quest that used to be in your keep or in your castle, whatever you had, isn't it? Right?
Yeah, I'm not sure because this is so fresh. It's a little bit tricky to tell if this works exactly the same. From what I can tell, the higher your morale, the more quests you get. Or I've just fluked into more each time, which doesn't seem right. I think that I'm getting more quests because my morale's higher. really tell, because my last lot, I got like 10 jobs.
10 quests? 10 jobs?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. And some of them are instant hand-ins, but I've got 4 sitting there at the moment that I can't do much with. I wouldn't mind if I got a whole heap of upgrade items or travel distance or anything, but the down-tiered monster ones, I don't have a whole heap of time to be world farming or down-tiering gauntlets. So
you're gonna have to miss a few out.
I think so.
Oh, well.
I think so.
And the thing, have you seen just like normal quest type things, like hand in some speed tonics, catch a few fish, that kind of thing? Just normal stuff? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, these aren't being treated in any sort of special way. From what I can tell, they're the same type of quests or jobs that we come to expect from inns or our keep, or dailies even. They seem the same. Yeah.
Okay, nice one. And have you seen your morale go down at all?
Yes.
Really?
The attrition rate doesn't seem to be as fast as the gains that you get from job completion. So that's a good thing. I think mine went down, I think it was 1% in 24 hours if I didn't have any job completed, something like that. It wasn't fast.
Well, it's a bit more dynamic then, isn't it? Rather than you just slowly work your way up to 100% and that's you done. You got to keep the plebs happy.
Yeah, so I think that there's probably a lot of scope in this, to be honest, because morale is something that he can toy around with so much. I had just initial thoughts. I was thinking like, oh, maybe morale's affected by the bosses that are sitting around your area naturally, and maybe the townspeople are scared of them. So as you kill those bosses, the townspeople will become happier, and as bosses spawn in, they'll become more scared again. So the morale will go back down. But it's nothing to do with that right now. It's just straight up the jobs that you complete. But I think that there is a lot of scope and potentially could tweak how fast it reduces as well.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know. We'll see.
Maybe
go ahead.
I had a thought about maybe with the faction wars, like maybe if your faction wins its war, maybe you get a little boost to morale, and vice versa. Yeah. If you lose, then population is not happy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of play space there, isn't there?
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, the faction wars.
I'm keen. I'm just keen to get my first summoning scroll out of my Citadel.
It's pretty cool. So I got one twice. So it wasn't a stack; it was one. And I got it twice, which is pretty awesome because some of this other content plays into that a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
So
nice one.
I think building wise, that is all of the additions except for the. There's the Herbalist. Do you want to go through that?
Yeah.
Cool. So do you want to carry that one for us?
Well, I have actually built 2 Herbalists. I think you can build one per area. And these is super cool. I think alchemy used to be on the roadmap quite a while ago, and then it disappeared off the roadmap, and now we've got Herbalism. Basically a way to create potions, and not just your regular mana potions, health potions, and elixirs. Yes, you can make them, and I'm looking right now, you can make elixirs out of health and mana potions together, which is quite nice. So you can actually work your way up, because I think one of the most common ways to actually get something like greater elixirs, for example, in the early to mid game, is actually by killing lots of mobs, and that's not something that everyone is going to do, so some people might miss out. So you can also get your regular defense tonics, speed tonics as well. But the really interesting thing is a couple of these new potions require actual herbs, actual new materials in the game. Stuff
Yeah.
like Nightshade, Dayleaf. What the hell is all this stuff, Danny?
Well, yeah, this is exciting seeing new materials. So I have now a stack of probably about 10 of each of these. Have you managed to gather any of these new materials?
I think I got some Dayleaf, but can't make a good cup of tea out of it.
So yeah, these actually sit under the materials section. So they are just considered straight up materials. They're not used for, like, you can't consume them individually. The way that you go about acquiring these new materials is, as far as I can tell, straight up clicking on bushes. People have reported that you could get them through refineries.
Oh, really?
But I've run my refineries twice now with Ortonite and not seen a single one. So maybe that was just while Odie was getting them into the system, the random generation from the refineries picking up those as a material still. Or I've been really unlucky. So we might have somebody in chat confirm for us that they're still getting them from the refinery stuff.
Well,
but anyway,
you can actually, I can confirm right now that you can smelt them. So it would make sense that you can get them out.
Yeah, I think I'd seen a report that smelting them though was resulting in the exact same material.
Oh, really?
Each time. So I don't know like whether that stuff is just bugged a little bit, but anyway,
a bit too new.
You definitely get them from bushes. I was fortunate enough to go for a drive into the closest city for me, which is 2 hours away, up and back yesterday, and convinced my lovely wife Jen to give me a drive up and back, so I could be the passenger. And I picked up
lucky boy.
Probably about 10 of each of the materials that you need. The Dayleaf, Nightshade, Mandrake. There's, I think, 2 more. Is there, or 1 more? And Silphium. Is it Silphium?
Silphium's 1, yeah.
That might be. There might only be 4, to be honest. Dayleaf, Mandrake, Nightshade, Silphium. Yeah, that looks like the 4. So I've got them, but I don't have the bottles that you need.
Nah, pretty rare.
So yeah, so bottles. I think like the initial guess was, okay, cool. As we drink potions, we'll accrue bottles, but I don't think you do. You just pick them up through either shops or the mimic loot pool is what I can tell at this stage.
Can you buy super empty bottles from shops? Or
I haven't seen them.
Ones?
I've only seen the large, and I can tell you because I've got them. And I don't remember where they sit. Do they sit under other? Yep. So I've got a small empty bottle and 19 large empty bottles, because that's what I found in my shop, and that's it. But I don't know. You might be able to get the supers. You can get super elixirs and super potions and whatever in shops. So I don't see why that would be excluded from there. It might just be rare. So I'm yet to spend the time cycling my shops repeatedly to try and get these. But I think that the potions list that comes from this thing is awesome and super exciting, right?
Yeah, I love it.
So you've got 2 Herbalists. I believe the way that the Herbalists work currently is that it's actually not every single potion. And from what I can tell, whether this is intentional or not, upgrading it doesn't yet seem to impact anything. I don't know. No. From when I got mine, I could create as many potions as when I got it to level 10. So I'm unsure if it impacts anything.
Yeah, I haven't found any differences yet, to be honest. It does change the stock as you upgrade, but the stock, as far as I can see, is the same at level 1 as it is as level 10. I didn't notice anything like a reduction in ingredient costs either. And fish are relevant now.
Yeah, well, Unremarkable, Azure, and
Crimson.
Is that it?
Crimson Snapper. Also in the recipe.
Okay. Yeah, this is so cool. We didn't just get potion crafting, we got fresh new potions. So what are the new ones? We've got Farsight is one of the big ones.
Oh, love this. Have you used one?
Nostrum, I haven't used any, no. I've created one Beast Blood so far.
Right.
Which is... So Beast Blood, it may attract extra monsters to you. So it appears like it's similar to holding a lantern or a torch.
Or an occult candle.
Or a candle, from the sense of attracting extra monsters to you.
That's quite
early game. It's cool.
Yeah, that's quite a good one. Exactly. It's very simple materials. So
yeah, really
very
simple.
Good. Love that.
Yeah, I think a small empty bottle of Mandrake and bone will be easy to accrue really early on in the game. You get a lot of bone from like skeletons and stuff early on, and you don't quite know what to do with it. And then you've got the piles of bones. Piles of bones everywhere early game. You just don't really know what to do with it, do you?
Relevant again.
Yeah. So then there's the Bestial Potion, which I really hope somebody in the chat has been game enough to both create one and use one, because I'd really love to hear how much this impacts your follower. Because the Bestial Potion, a sweet and nutritious tonic, having your follower consume it will increase their action rate for a short time.
Bonkers.
So action rate is cool, but how much and how long? And what instances? Does it affect PvP?
That's the big question, isn't it?
No other consumable to date has affected PvP?
Yeah, correct. I would be... At this point, I'm pretty doubtful it would, but have been proved wrong in the past.
Yeah. So. The natural assumption is that it'll affect things like raids, world raids, gauntlets.
Dungeons.
Dungeons, world farming, but not PvP. And I would probably also assume 1 hour, because we don't have consumables that last for 30 minutes yet, do we?
Chaos Scroll.
Right, there you go. So it could be 30 minutes. Here we go. We've got a quote from Fux. I used one last night, lasted for an hour. There we go. Out of combat buff. Character screen was not updated. I think it might have improved pet action rate, but it's hard to tell. So for our listeners, that's a quote from Fuximus, who is known by the community probably as the pet god, because he's stuck with the pet or tamer classes for the entire game all the way to 250 and refuses to get off them. It might be tricky for him to tell how much it impacts action rate if he's already got action rate boosters going and he's playing a class that already boosts the action rate and a spec that already boosts the action rate. So this might be one that we'll have to find out over time.
Yeah. To be honest, I would assume that later on, once he's smoothed things out, I think this would be something Odie might stick on the character page. Like, for at the moment, temporary buffs, for example, the party bonus, it does show your stats temporarily increased in your stat page. So yeah, as you said, let's wait and find out. What about the Farsight? You haven't used one yet, but I'm assuming that it will last for an hour again. Again, I've not used it yet. Up until now, every kind of increase in view distance has given a flat 20% multiplier to what you have currently, right? So like a 1.2 multiplier to your current view distance range. I would assume this works the same way. If there's anyone in chat again who's actually used it, can confirm. There were actually other improvements to view distance on this patch, thanks to adornments, but we'll come on to that later on. Farsight, really good one.
Yeah, the Farsight probably got most of us really excited, I think, because any way that we can get access to doing more things while we're stuck stationary is a really big improvement to quality of life. It allows you to keep the game open more and do more things for us at home if it puts us just within reach of a gauntlet or one additional gauntlet. And that might even be true for if you're going out and you're moving about. It might give you a little bit extra access to buildings that normally are just outside your reach. You know, you might be pushing the boundaries a little bit, trying to access a little bit of private property to get onto a gauntlet. Now you might not have to. this one's so cool, and I saw the material cost, and that is pretty hefty. I'm not sure how long it'll take us to accrue 10 day leaf. That I did a drive up and back to the city, so probably in the car collectively nearly 4 hours, and hit a whole heap of these bushes, and I think I may just scrape in with 10 day leaf. I'm just going to have a look. Yeah, I have exactly 10 day leaf.
Right.
So I don't think that we need to worry about this being something that people will
Be using every
just
day.
have constant. Yeah, this is even more space, or it'll be harder to use than the brazier that you have at home that you're able to use every day, once per 24 hours or 22 hours as it is. So this isn't something that people need to freak out. Is going to change things heaps, but it might be useful from time to time. It really excites me.
I'll be pumped to use one eventually.
Yeah, for sure.
Then we've got some kind of in battle potions, like the Ichor removes any stat lowering ailments against you. This one needs the Crimson Snapper, one of the fishes.
So that one hasn't popped up in my Herbalist. I've only got one Herbalist, and I haven't seen that cycle through at all. But I did see that on the Discord. So that's Ambrosia without the healing.
Yes, that's what I would assume. Yeah, pretty useful for Realm Shifter.
Really big
redlining, actually.
Yep. So for Beowulf and for Realm Shifter, basically any class that wants you to stay at a low health total, and you need to get rid of those status downs.
I mean, even Heretic as well, with the keep your mana low as well.
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. And the way that you go about creating it is, again, not going to be something that people have huge stores of, unless they want to sit there and fish for hours upon hours upon hours, which we did ask for reasons to fish.
Yeah. A new sprite, maybe.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. So then Nostrum falls in that same sort of category, doesn't it?
Maybe it does. I don't know what it does, though.
So Nostrum, some say the cure-all is a bit of a snake oil. This concoction aims to cure one of more ailments.
One or more.
It says of more. So one or more ailments. So is that meant to be a better cure-all, or
what would you guess?
That's what I'd probably guess. Has anyone used a Nostrum in the chat? I mean, yeah.
Cure-all's got buffed recently.
Yes. What doesn't cure-all cure currently? It doesn't cure petrification.
Cursed?
Doesn't cure cursed. Toxic. Is that it?
This is what I know. Lulled.
Yeah.
I don't think anything can cure lulled. Maybe. Can Panacea cure lulled, really?
Maybe. How many things lull you? It's just the Warriors Purveying casting things, is it? Yeah. So I'm guessing that what Nostrum is it's Panacea that doesn't heal you. But
maybe
the material cost is lower than creating. I guess Panacea is technically better because it does heal you. I don't know what it is.
Don't know. Too early to tell.
It is too early to tell. But if it is just like some sort of cure-all in the sense that it will cure things like cursed, toxic, or petrification, that's actually a big deal for again those redlining classes. And when we reference redlining, guys, what that means is a class that wants to stay at 1 HP or as close to 1 HP during combat, because that actually increases either the stats of that class, or in the case of Beowulf, which is a tier 10 pet related class, it increases the stats of its follower. So that's what redlining references. And yeah, for those classes, if there's a way to cure toxic or curse without losing that passive increase, that's a cool thing.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
So maybe it's that. Not sure.
In any case,
Not sure.
This is a good introduction to a new feature, which some people have actually been. I think this must be up there in the suggestion lists over the last 2 or 3 years.
Oh yeah.
Everyone loves a bit of herbalism, bit of crafting.
I think so. It just added so much content to the game right there. And my wife was rubbing it into me yesterday because she's pretty fresh to the game now. She said that she thinks that she actually has an advantage with the potion crafting stuff, because right now I'm at the end of the game and need to go away and try to collect all these materials. Meanwhile, she's going to collect them as she goes. So when she's ready for a lot of these materials or a lot of the potions, she'll actually be really well set to craft them all, which is a really good point. And it's fantastic for the guys who are going through this journey from the start. If you were to think of starting the game today versus a year and a half ago when we started, or nearly 2 years ago when we started, the state the game is in, wowee.
Absolutely. Right. Next building, Dangy. What is it?
Just doing a bit of ASMR. Wayvessel. So, the wayvessel is a portal that you can use to play with your friends remotely. That's a really brief summary, but this is a big deal. What it allows you to do is, if you are in a party, which, by the way, party mechanics have always, forever and a day, within Honor, been that you need to basically be standing right on top of each other to invite each other to a party. And now you can actually invite anyone who is on your ally list into a party with you. So that actually means that yourself, Shabbash, who is in Scotland, and me, who is in Australia, can be in a party together. And that is cool.
Oh, there we are.
Oh, party wow, look time. At that. We're in a party together. Now that's pretty awesome. And I'm just trying to, my wayvessel has been yeeted off my screen. It's no longer on my screen, which is really weird. So I'll have to try and get that back. So that's cool, but that would naturally not really mean much for us because we can't really do anything together. This wayvessel changes that. So the wayvessel, which I think you would have one on your screen somewhere.
I should do. So wayvessel, you have to build it in your origin town, right?
Can only be built in your origin town. That's right. I think all of these new buildings, except for the Herbalist, have to be built in your origin town. So the residences, the town hall, and the Citadel are all in your origin town, as is the wayvessel.
Yeah.
So the wayvessel, and I'm going to go trigger mind on, allows you to teleport to a party member's hometown. I've just triggered it, so you might need to close it and then reopen it. Yeah. I don't know how long it takes.
Yeah, it looks to have been instant. Yours has come up as, it's just appeared there, so I guess I just need to activate mine. And
so it looks like you have to have both active, which I guess makes sense because then it's acting more like a wormhole-y sort of Stargate sort of thing, I guess. But yeah, it'll allow you to click travel and it'll take you all the way across the world to Australia.
Unreal.
You might need to rotate your phone, and then you get to
Upside
have
down.
a little bit of a glimpse into my hometown.
Wow.
So
It's dark.
So my wayvessel sort of placed a little bit to the side of my town just because of the aesthetics. I prefer that. But you can see now what that allows you to do is it allows you to access the dungeons that I have at home. It allows you to access all my buildings. I've got nice, pretty jewelers sitting there. I've got a lot of bestiaries.
Oh my god.
Bestiaries is maybe a little bit of an overlooked feature of this because when there's event pets, it's actually a bit hard sometimes to find it in your own bestiary if you've got a friend who's got one. You might be able to go and obtain the event pet. I know that that's been a complaint for people for a long time, that they will go the entire month and not get an event pet and then they feel really defeated. This can really help them obtain those event pets a little bit easier.
Definitely.
But there's probably one other standout thing here, I'd say, Shabbash, is that you can see a whole heap of big glowy guys all over the place.
So what are these, Dangy? World raid bosses, right?
World raid bosses.
Oh.
So.
And bosses as well. Got fucking boss party down here.
There's a big stack of bosses there for my wife. She's going through the game right now and she keeps running out of gauntlet keys. So I've tried to be a good partner, and whenever she's run out of gauntlet keys, she's got a nice stack of bosses there to chew through.
Nice. That's very generous, Dangy.
Yeah. So these are world raid bosses. These you can acquire through utilization of a summoning scroll. So summoning scrolls you can acquire through. There's a couple of ways. One is, or the most common way, is through Baylor gateways, which are either a tier 7 or tier 9 mob or monster, which you can encounter in Night Zone, which is the moon biome.
Yeah, the moon biome, right?
Or most commonly through gauntlets. They appear at any time of day during normal gauntlets, normal hard gauntlets. And you can get them from tier 7 onwards. So tier 7, tier 8, tier 9, tier 10, and even in the tier 11 gauntlets, which are essentially tier 10 anyway. You can run into these Baylor gateways. And then the other way is through the completion of a gauntlet. You can get them as a reward. Then now there's a couple of additional, ways to get them, because I think you can get them as a reward from some quests, which is mega rare. You can get them as daily login rewards.
Yeah.
So if you're fortunate enough to have it in your pool of rewards for the daily logins, you can get it that way. Interestingly enough, you can actually get it upon completion of a very specific world raid boss itself.
Oh yeah, that's right.
The Fey Yeti has it within its loot pool. And then, as we talked about earlier, you can actually claim them as a reward from the Citadel. And that's a complete fluke if you were to run into that as your reward, because we're still yet to determine what the actual loot pool for the Citadel is. So yeah, this is what you get to do. You get to come all the way to Australia and have a look at my world raid bosses. So what we might be able to may be able to showcase here is, if you want to pick out a random boss, we can actually jump into it together.
Right. I'll pick a boss right in the middle here, and you have to guess which one it is. Yeah,
see, my hometown is probably about one of the most frustrating for people to work with. I need to look at your screen as you're doing it, because I've got way too many bosses here.
Right, there's actually a third horseman sticking out on the left, or there's a Fey Cock as well.
Fey Cockatrice is probably a good one, because neither of us will die to it straight away. So where's...
Maybe. Alright, so
maybe.
This one seems like you've got two on the kind of southwest corner. You've got a NPC here. Let me just accept his quest.
Yeah, so this gives you access to NPCs as well, is a really good point. So if you're early in the game and you're struggling to find that NPC that you randomly picked up a quest from on a highway somewhere, you might be able to scope out some friends that have it at their house to go and hand in the story quest. So that's actually a big deal. And there's inns as well that you've got access to. So I've got 4 Fey Cockatrice, so I'm trying to work out which one.
Well, if you point your screen north.
My orientation. Because the other thing that's a little bit interesting about this is that your position is based somewhat randomly, but close to the wayvessel.
So you don't actually spawn right on top of it.
You don't spawn right on top of it, or at least in the initial release, you did not. It was somewhat random, but you're static. You can't move anywhere. So for you, you're a fair bit away from me, but I'm just trying to like work out your orientation. So
where are you, by the way?
So if you see my town down there and you see the little well, and that's actually an interesting point, is you can see my decorations now.
Oh yeah, you couldn't used to see other players' decorations before, actually.
Yeah.
So I can't see anything.
Yeah. So I don't know if you can see other players. I haven't been able to get that working. I can still see party members that are physically here. So if my wife was in my party and physically next to me, I can see her character on the screen.
Right.
But I haven't been able to see teleporting in.
Maybe I'm too far away.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. But if we have a look, so you've got that Fey Cockatrice along that north road there, you know, that road that's going for you horizontally across your screen. You've got a Fey Cockatrice on the right of your screen.
This one.
I can't see that one right there. Yep. So I reckon we jump into that one. What do you reckon?
Well, I'm in already, whether you're coming or not.
I saw your eyes light up when you saw that I had Fey Cockatrice at home.
So if you do jump in, you're actually going to be, there you are, you're in. But you're actually you're not in really, because Fey Chimera is taking up the lower half of your body, unfortunately.
The point of this is more that you get to actually share this experience together, whether it is that you do it through actually being there at the exact same time, or whether it is that you activate your portals, which are on a 24-hour timer at this current point in time. Unsure whether that is going to change at all, because it has already changed twice. I think initially when it came out, there wasn't a cooldown. There was no activation timer. You just turned it on or off. So you had it on, and your party members could just use it whenever they wished. And then since then, it got changed to 10 minutes. So you had to turn it on, and they had to jump in inside of 10 minutes.
Right.
Then finally, it got changed to it's where it's at right now, which is 1 hour. That they can, not 1 hour, so 24 hours that they can, So I was talking, unfortunately, you didn't get to see my damage pop up, but I'm doing Realm Strikes hits right now that are fantastic.
It's okay, Dangy. So I got a 900k crit, so people can...
Did you really?
People can see that.
900k, what was that with?
Realm Strikes, man.
See, my Realm Strikes build has absolutely gutted my attack. My attack stat is so low that I see all these people. I'm like really excited that I do Realm Strikes hits, and mine are around 400 or 500k if I crit with DC up. And then people show me these big numbers, and I get a little bit jealous because I leaned heavily into crit.
Yeah, you went big time on crit, right?
Yeah, which has really, really reduced my attack quite a lot. So even on Swashbuckler that I am right now, my attack's probably a figure that Shabbash would not be comfortable with himself. So, all right, let me get a little bit less distracted. You talk for a little bit. I'll finish off this boss, and hopefully the rewards will pop up for you.
All right, nice one. Well, sorry, I just kind of leave you in there by yourself. I hope you'll be able to finish that off by yourself.
Ooh, hopefully. I am on Swashbuckler, so let's see if I can actually raid effectively.
Crash and burn a little bit. Man, I love this feature so much. Like, I haven't been to Australia in real life, right? Almost down.
I'm almost dead.
Oh,
He
you're almost
just hit
dead.
me for a massive hit, and hit me for blight, so I couldn't actually attack. You know, when occasionally it says you couldn't attack. Yeah, I'm gonna die. He's gonna use his great fireball.
Use Panacea.
I did. He did a 24k hit with a great fireball through it all. It doesn't matter. So what that'll mean is later, when I'm good enough to actually finish a tier 8 world raid, then you will get rewards. We get to share rewards with each other, which is
awesome.
It's awesome, man. Like, and for us to be able to share both the world raids that potentially we know friends are really, really chasing specific gear from.
Yeah.
But at a lower tier, which is probably the really important part with this, is at a lower tier, it's really hard to kill these things. When you hit tier 7 and you spawn in a Fey Gazer or a Fey Dragon or whatever. Wait, is Fey Dragon? Yeah, tier 7.
Even First Horseman.
So, yeah, First Horseman. These things are going to take you a long time to kill. So I think it's a really big deal for people to be able to bring in their mates and get these things knocked over a little bit quicker. But it actually feels for the first time like you are playing with people.
Yeah.
This game has felt probably primarily a very single player focused game. And you could say that the Kingdom raids can feel like you're playing together a little bit. And it does. When you've got a big party of people going in a Kingdom raid, that's pretty cool. But you primarily Kingdom raid whenever you feel like it. Yeah, it's not really something you have to schedule too much. Whereas this, if you need to coordinate with your friends and get them, like, whose house are we going to pop scrolls or whatever, that's awesome.
Scrolls. Yeah, you got to mobilize, get the team together, get the squad out.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Yeah. We're just heading down south here.
Yeah.
Taking off some of these fake orcs, some of these dungeons. I mean, it's super cool. Sharing
so cool.
Yeah, sharing dungeons together, sharing pets together. I can't believe how many dungeons you've got down here, by the way.
So I've got 3 that you can see there. Yeah. I can't see one of them because it's too far away. It's one that's at the bottom of your screen now or the left of your screen now. It's on the on the east there.
The other thing I wanted to mention is if you go to your mates in your party, you go through the wayvessel, you tag some world raid bosses. If you leave that party, it doesn't matter. You will still get rewards for that raid boss. So it's kind of irrelevant of actually being in the party. You will definitely get rewards when that raid boss does eventually get taken down. It doesn't necessarily mean you'll actually get any loot, by the way. Kind of dependent on how much damage you do, because there's some like, for example, there's going to be some people who maybe they're going to share like 25% damage or 50% damage. You know, at those numbers, you're definitely going to get some loot.
Yes.
But if you're maybe there's going to be people, and I guess some kingdoms as well, which are going to say, right, guys, come in and do like 1,000 damage or like 100,000 damage. Just tag this boss, lucky dip kind of thing. Many instances you're not going to get any loot, but there's a chance that if you tag hundreds of these world raid bosses, overall for very little effort, you will end up getting some items, some worthwhile, some not.
Yeah, that's a really good point, and I think that expectation around how much loot you'll get is a reasonable one to set, because some of these items from the world raid bosses are quite rare. I think their base rarity is pretty high on most of them anyway, but then you've got things like adornments that are in a lot of the world raid boss pools now that are just really difficult to come by. So you might hit a Fey Cockatrice for 15% damage or less and get no pinion. That is a reality that both can and does happen. So don't be surprised or up in arms about that. The pinions are rare. So there might be some considerations when you're sharing world raid bosses about how much of the damage you allow your friends to do versus you do. And, you know, having parties of 6 share raids might not be the most effective. Maybe parties of 2 or 3 are.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, that's something for you to negotiate and barter with the team or whoever you want to share it with. As a quick plug here, Dangy, if you don't mind, on the Orna Legends Discord server, we've set up some roles that you can assign to yourself if you want to notify or get notified of people sharing certain raid bosses or dungeons, want to share dungeons or sharing pets, that kind of thing. So yeah, we're really trying to make it a little bit more little bit more of a sharing community there. So make it easier for people to find what they want. Also make it easier for people to share the love with more people as well.
Yeah, I think that's a really good plug, and I think that thing. So you've put up the looking for party, or it's a whole looking for group section where you can look for a party. You can have party roles, and you can have people vouch for you essentially, right?
Not that we'd ever need that in the Orna community, but just in case.
There is a concern. So there's a concern with this, right? And this is something that probably the lower tier players need to be conscious of, that not everyone has your best interests at heart. And if you just invite a random person from the Discord to your home who is saying, that's okay, I can help you do a little bit of damage to your world raid bosses. If you don't know them, you're opening up the opportunity that they come and clear out all of your world raid bosses.
Yeah.
So that's something that using, say, maybe the looking for group on the Honor Legends Discord might be a better process, because you can, you know, be a bit more clear about who these people are and whatever. There is a recently added feature that Odie implemented to the game, which can help in a case that you do lose, say, all of your world raid bosses to a person, and you now know that this is an unsavory person that you don't want to interact with going forward, you can choose to block that individual person in-game. And what that does, and you can probably click on me there and see that, Shabbash. If you scroll to the bottom, I think it's got the block.
You know what? I actually don't have... give me 1 second. Keep talking, dang it.
No, that's all right. That's to do with the snippy or the screen sharing thing. But yeah, you can block that person, and what that'll do is it means that you don't see them, they don't see you, but they also don't see things like your world raid bosses in the game going forward. So if you are going to get into the scene, so see that block player right there. So if you're going to get into the scene of sharing with random people that you're not quite familiar with, potentially the way that you do it is you don't use every single summoning scroll that you've got in the first instance if it's a random person, and just sort of get to know how each other plays, and that might be a way to go. But the Orna Legends Discord is good. I think that the main Discord, we can probably reasonably expect that might start popping up there as well.
Yeah.
And I wonder if Core's listening, whether there's going to be some sort of implementation on the Reddit around it as well, because I know we have a big group of people on the Reddit. We have a Facebook now, which I don't personally go on because I'm just an old bogey who doesn't use Facebook.
Me neither.
Maybe there's stuff on the Facebook page too.
I wouldn't recommend going into someone's wayvessel and like tagging some shrines of wisdom, for example, or the lucky shrines, unless you are invited to by that said person. Just don't be a dick, basically.
I mean, shrines is a really good one because it takes a while for items to pop up in people's areas. Most people just log in quite legitimately only when they play the game. So these items don't pop up very frequently, and if they come home after a hard day at work and they want to play Orna and they see that all of their luck shrines or wisdom shrines are gone, that's going to really hurt someone. So it's a really good point, is to try and maybe just not be a dick when you're utilising these mechanics.
Shall we talk about potential negative side to this? There has been some debate about,
I think we talk about the debate for sure, yeah.
because, I mean, as you were saying, Danny, like up until now, the multiplayer features in the game have been have been kingdom raids and kingdom stuff in general, but it never really felt like you were there with them playing, right? This wayvessel thing, you know, you can party up together from anywhere and then go and visit the same place. You can go and check out all of your kingdom members' local towns if they want to share with you.
Yeah. So
you can visit, you know, talk about a GPS game. You can technically visit. You can cover a few more air miles through these portals than maybe you could have done, and you don't even need to spend any money on fuel or your carbon footprint either.
Yeah. So the carbon footprint's just a really good positive that you raise, right? Like in a world where we are trying to reduce the carbon footprint, this does help that, because people don't have to drive around or take transport of other means around. So that's probably a brief positive. I know that there is a bit of a narrative around, people are concerned about, what I can tell, are two main things. One is that to them, at its core, this is a GPS game, and anything that strays away from that is something that they're not a fan of.
Yeah.
Which is okay. You're allowed to have that view. And I think I have some points to raise about why I don't think that they need to be overly concerned about the GPS elements of it. And then the other part was specifically around the utilization of this system to gain access to more gauntlets. And the reason that that's a concern is that the gauntlets allow you to go up the leaderboards through completions. So the more completions you get, it affects your rank, and it also has that multiple benefit of allowing you to complete more boss kills, which also, or monster kills as well, but primarily boss kills, which also affects your rank.
Even even completing quests and ends and stuff, and NPCs as well.
Yeah. So those were probably the primary concerns that I saw raised. I think for me personally, I'm probably at the standpoint that more content is good.
Yeah.
And that probably the conversation doesn't need to go much further for me. I think more content is a good thing. When we talk about having access to elements that aren't GPS being a concern, that's probably a personal concern, right? So this game is a GPS game and has still got GPS elements, but it doesn't mean that it needs to strictly be GPS game, right? You can have content that is outside of that while also maintaining the GPS aspect of it. So I don't think Odie needs to feel that he should be restricted to just doing GPS stuff. The extra content and the way that he's gone about it is really unique, because at the moment we're in the middle of a worldwide pandemic, and the thing that really sucks for some people to hear who are getting constantly locked down and they're not allowed to leave their house is that there's, people actively trying to make it so that a new system that they've just gotten really excited about having access to more content with, people are trying to shut down and take away from them. This is something that's allowing people to either A, play a game that they never had access to because they might have only started looking at this while they were in lockdown.
Yep.
So be conscious of that, people. But two, for the people who were playing it pretty passionately and then got locked down and they weren't allowed to do anything, it's not their choice that they can't go for a drive right now. It's not their choice that they can't jump on a train or a bus or whatever.
Well, some people don't even have access to a car.
True.
For example, I mean, some people, they can barely walk as well, and they still want to play. So
True. Yeah. Well, that's a really good point as well. If somebody's housebound, should they not be allowed to play this game?
No.
I don't think that that's fair. Yeah. So I think that this is really good to be adding in. I really think that concern around, especially like the leaderboard rank stuff, I think is potentially a little bit overblown, because at the moment you'll be able to access these wave vessels, and say you have a party, and I don't know, actually, are you able to now teleport? It was that you were locked out for an hour after using a wave vessel. Is that still the case?
What do you mean? If I go home, can I come back again?
Yeah, if you go home, are you able to come back again?
Why would I want to visit Australia again? Been there once already.
Mate, I keep spawning fake Alcatraz. I think you'll want to come back to my house.
Okay.
So it'll take a little bit for your stuff to pop in. But
yeah, there you go.
So you can't use it for another hour, right? So you get locked out of using mine. So that means that right now you come to my house and you can do 3 gauntlets.
Actually,
there's going to be some really lucky people that have 4, 5, whatever gauntlets.
Yeah, 8.
8. Oh yeah, I think I saw Dro had 8, did he? And is it Zir?
Yeah, Zir had, yeah. Dangy, I think it's just the 2 of us in this party right now, but I think you can only visit one wayvessel from the party per hour.
That's right. So
is that what you're going to say? Right, okay.
Yeah, so it's a global thing. So as in global for your party. So if you have 6 people in the party, you use Modangy's wayvessel. You can't then use Dro's wayvessel either. It's all of them are now on a 1 hour cooldown. So, even if you go to a place with 8 gauntlets, right? This is talking premium best opportunity possible. You go to a place with 8 gauntlets. I can get in a car and do 30 gauntlets in an hour right now.
In 1 hour.
And I know not everyone can. I get that. I'm conscious of that. But the people who are at the top of the leaderboards who are really concerned that other people are going to catch them, other people, for one, don't care about it as much as you. So they're not going to chase you as hard. They're not going to go after the gauntlets as hard anyway, because they would have already if that was a big concern. But 2, it's not actually faster than the GPS way of playing still. Right? It can't be. You can't do as many as if you were to go for a drive or get on a train or whatever. So I think one thing that we do collectively as a community sometimes is get too anxious or
overreact
is a good word. Before we really know how it's settling.
Yeah.
I think that it's probably hitting a pretty good. I think the 24 hours is good. So I think that Odie's looked at trying to work out a way that we can avoid. The word abuse was used a lot. I didn't quite get that word, but essentially he didn't want people to park an alt account at a spot with a lot of gauntlets and have people being able to just teleport to their alts to do gauntlets. He wants it to be a cooperative exercise. So that's why there's now the activation timer.
Yeah, that's what I tried to do the day the update dropped, because when the update dropped, you could take an alt, drop a wayvessel, go home, go visit there as many times as you want. That was kind of quickly patched and repatched, and to be honest, now I think I quite like how it is. The idea is at the moment, you got to coordinate with the team, make a little bit of a decision. Where do you want to go? Who do you want to visit?
Yep. So it is. It is entirely a cooperative exercise.
Yeah.
So 24 hours on the cooldown is probably fine by me. It's just something that I'll have to train myself to remember to turn it on, because if I want to party with, say, yourself, Shabbash, or anyone from the United States, or, I'm halfway across the world from most of the people that I interact with through this Orna community. I have a lot of friends within Australia as well, but there are a big cohort outside of Australia. If I forget to turn it on and go to work, that's going to really mess with our scheduling for this. So it was set to an hour, which basically opted me out of playing with people from across the world. That's just what happened.
Yeah.
But now it's 24 hours. It's not as big a deal.
Yeah, that's good.
There's been some chatter about, or suggestions, I guess, about just making it if your character is active,
right,
then make the cooldown 24 hours from when it was last active in
the
Origin town. But
I mean, it's a few extra clicks. Just go in. It's a few extra taps. Just go in and activate it like once a day.
Yeah.
If you want.
Yeah. I wonder if there's a way to make it a little bit more obvious that it's not activated. So maybe if it's not activated,
change color or something.
Well, you know how you've got the big blue portal part in the middle of it. Maybe that goes transparent when there's when it's not active, and then when it is active, you
good idea.
Blue part in the middle. And then it would remind me really quickly. I'd look at it and go, oh shit, my wayvessel isn't active. I better go and turn that on for when Shabbash wants to come and knock around my world raid bosses.
Good shout. I mean, going back a little bit, I didn't really chime in on what I was thinking about in terms of the negative debate, or people who are getting a little bit upset about this being the end. It's not a GPS game anymore, kind of thing. I mean, this isn't CS:GO, is it? It's not really like a super competitive game. We're not being top of the leaderboard doesn't mean you win $100,000 every month, kind of thing. It's just a nice way to show that you're really dedicated, you're passionate, you love killing monsters, you love doing dungeons, and it's not as if this new feature is limited to anybody. Anybody can do it, so there's no advantage to anyone in particular. In fact, it kind of evens the playing field a bit more. Goes back to as we were saying earlier, some people didn't have access to traveling much, and now they do. And in terms of getting new players involved, people new players are gonna want to party up with their mates. They're gonna want to go and visit Uncle Dangy down in Oz. Come over, visit Scotland, see how wet it is over here, how cold it is. Catch a few mobs. So, for me personally, this is my point of view, my opinion. This is one of my favorite features that OD has implemented in Orna since maybe fake cocks were introduced.
I think that this might be the biggest change that we've seen in its history. Like, everything incrementally adds up to quite a lot. So right up until this point, you can say that the game has changed substantially from where it was at. World raid bosses were probably a really big addition when they came in, but I think that this is one of the largest changes to quality of life and just making me want to keep the game open longer on my phone. Right, this is a really, really big deal. I feel for the guy because he got absolutely hammered with all of the negatives upon release of this, and that's always the case. And I'm sure at this point in time, he nearly expects that he's only going to hear the negatives and didn't really get smashed with the positives. But this is huge. This is a really big deal, and there's a lot of us sitting there that. Oh, I won't say us because I'm not in the group that sits there quietly, so I can't really say us. But there's a lot of people that sit there quietly who don't say a word, who really enjoy the addition.
Oh, for sure. I mean, the stats will back this up for any kind of game. There's always a silent majority. Typically, we don't need to get into that. I mean, there's a lot of people who. I've seen it personally in my kingdom. There's so much chat. Everybody wants to go and visit everybody else. Hey, open your wayvessel, man. Come on, man. I'm waiting over here. This kind of thing. And it's just you just get the band back together. Kind of thing. Go play together.
It's so cool, man. It's so cool. And I think that the thing that's going to come as a result of this as well, because there's still some roadmap implementations that seem to be aligned to this, now that we know that this was what the direction sort of was that Odie was taking. He's talked about real-time conflicts, real-time world raids.
Real-time partying.
So I imagine that ties into this stuff, and that's going to be cool.
Oh, super excited. I mean, literally, I'm guessing you're going to have to you're actually going to have to go you are going to have to mobilize, concentrate, go to the same area, go to the same dungeon, whatnot.
Yeah,
we
exciting stuff.
We weren't going to talk about roadmap, Dangy. Come on. Nah, that's awesome.
I know. We were like, let's keep this short, and so far we've already kept you up too late. Overall, really, really cool stuff. I think that touches on all of the building changes that came as a result of this patch. I'm just going to the announcements to have a little bit more of a... So we've got the villages...
Cover the rest of the stuff. I think generally he might tweak the wayvessel stuff, going forward. I wouldn't be surprised, but I think the general kind of use cases there.
I think that this is pretty close to fantastic, and there might be some minor changes going forward. But there was a lot of UI changes. The game looks neater and tidier again, as he always is implementing stuff. There's a couple of language changes. I think that British English is in there now.
What?
As is Australian.
What? Australian English?
Yep.
What's all that about? Does that exist?
Yeah, mate. Of course it does. Come on, mate.
To be honest, I was wrong. The greatest feature that Odie's implemented in this game is British English.
Yeah, it's Australian English is the greatest feature, but you were close. So there's the quality of life stuff. The login screen is probably a little bit tidier now, I think, as well. So you can manage multiple characters a bit easier, which is super fun to do. By the way, managing multiple characters in this game, running through the experience again fresh is awesome. Legacy item normalization.
Oh, man.
I want you to talk about this. I want to hear what you have to say.
This is like part 3 or 4 in the legacy normalization saga. It continues on. Odie's retracing his steps and going back and fixing kind of legacy ward items. We have talked about this, I think, on at least one, if not multiple, previous podcasts, talking about certain items that had ward attached, the stats didn't work, or they got too much ward, that kind of thing. So I think now he's put in another fix for certain items there. I'm not sure if he's actually fixed everything, but
yeah. So I think that most things are pretty right, but if you come up across any items that seem really out, probably report them in bug reports for Odie to have a look at.
Have a gander.
Essentially what it is if there was any stats that were added to a piece of gear after that gear was already leveled or it had already existed, it assumed a common quality for those new added stats. So if you had, say, a perfect Avalon crown and then attack got added to it, it would actually add attack as if it was a common quality, so you wouldn't get the 200% quality stats for it. So there's a whole heap of normalization for those stats, so they instead come up to meet the quality of the item that you're using. Where that's most notable is in a lot of cases ward on a lot of items, and the legacy items that got impacted the hardest was back in the day you could actually level up and then Master Forge and subsequently Demon Forge
normal quality.
A normal quality item, and it would actually get the ward of 200%. Is that right?
I think it was 189%.
189%. There you go. So there's 1,899% according to Wario. There we go. Almost. But that was a big deal because it meant that people were leveling up their Mighty Griffin shields, their Fallen shields, their in the most egregious cases, the Old Nothran crown, so that they got these big cheaty items that had a huge amount of ward on it. and that means that you would end up never being able to quite compete with these guys if you came into the game later. And sorry, there's a plane going. I just muted myself because I had a plane going over my house, and I've no idea why that would be the case. We live in country Victoria. Yeah, so it's a big deal for things like the old Northern Crown or those shields, etc. They've now been leveled out to be the common quality that they in fact are. And then there was other items like ornate Arisen armor or Phoenix gear or
Avalon Crown was affected, wasn't it? The
Avalon
stats were low.
Crown, yeah, that they weren't getting the ward that they should have received have now been fixed. Then there's really minor changes. So there was this one that would happen eternally for assessments on, say, like a shield, right? So say a shield had a ward percentage on it. You did a scan on your brand new fallen shield and it came through as a quality 200%. So you went and shared it in Triumph and Tragedy in the Discord server saying, woohoo, I got this 200% shield. And then you got peppered with 10 comments that said, ha ha, bad luck. It's probably going to be 196 or 197 because the assessments are always wrong and it'll naturally roll down. That shouldn't be the case now. If people noticed, you might have had a shield that did drop 1 or 2 ward percent as it got Master Forged and Demon Forged or even leveled up to level 10. That should be leveled out now.
Good. Another step in the right direction.
That's right.
Even if it has to go backwards to go forwards. 1 step backwards, 2 step forwards. Something like that.
Yep.
You know, there's a couple of other things I've noticed in this latest patch. World mobs, they now also face the other way. So like some of them swap about like that, you know.
It's so weird.
I love it. New mobs. Oh, right, hang on. We'll come on to new mobs, Dangy, because we're gonna. There's been a couple of new mobs, but other things I wanted to touch on. Fey Yeti coat now has frozen immunity. It did not have that before. It now has. That goes in line with the rest of the Yeti coats.
Oh, that is fantastic.
I mean, this item, it went from, I don't know, top tier to top tier out of the stadium. I don't know. Super duper item. It might
be the best item in the game. I'm not sure there's many things that compete with it at this point. I love it.
I love it so much. Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, that's going to be huge on the World Raid boss trading, or sharing. Let's call it sharing platforms, whatever.
Mate, yeah. Yeah.
Daily.
So good.
Yeah, the other thing was actual quest quality of life, like daily quests and all kind of quests. It now shows on the mob screen. If you tap the mob, you can see how many you still need to complete the quest. Either that's daily quest.
Yep. That's a really cool implementation.
Yeah, jobs from inns, kingdom quests. Absolutely love that. Again, that's another. Dang, you'll know this more than me as you're a Discord mod, but that has been surely one of the most suggested suggestions since time began.
Yeah, for sure. Really big improvement. I like it.
I love it. Nidhogg, now a world mob. Oh, I don't know if it's a world mob. It might be a dungeon only mob. I'm not too sure, but
I've only seen screenshots of it in a dungeon.
Yeah, I've seen it in a dungeon only. I've not checked the codex. To be honest, if I check this codex screen, because I'm very certain that I have actually seen one.
I haven't run into it yet, but I've been doing boss gauntlets because I needed to recoup keys. I had assumed he was a boss because I saw 50,000 health. Is that right?
Oh, it's pretty beefy, yeah. It's actually not dungeon only, according to the codex entry, but...
is it weak to dragon? Or is it weak to nothing?
It's immune to dragon, actually.
Sorry?
It's immune to dragon.
Ooh. Oh my gosh, okay. It's got a weakness, so that's good. I wonder what its weakness is. Does anyone know what its weakness is? Because Gobi's just said that it's potentially an endless killer, and with that amount of health, it could be. But if it's got a weakness...
Oh, it's weak to earth.
Okay. There we go.
Okay. Here, it needs some
So
good item
it doesn't
drops,
drop
man.
any items.
I've got enough Dragonite.
I know. Surely an item gets added in at some point.
I reckon so. But cool to see. Dangy, I don't know if you've been following the chat as well. There's been a couple of whispers over the last 30 minutes of some new stuff.
Oh, really? Really?
Yes, really. Fallen Realm Shifter, Fallen Gilgamesh. I'm assuming Fallen Tier 10 classes are now actual bosses in the game.
Bosses?
Yep. Have a look at this bad boy. Superior Diabolic Axe of Gilgamesh. I'm assuming, by the way, this is not some kind of 4D chess scam. I'm not sure if the guy who posted it was actually from Stormforce, so I think we should be good.
Hey, stop picking on Stormforce, man. I'm a Stormforce lifer.
Stormforce for life. Join tits.
Yeah. Join tits. So, hang on. Major, tell me, what does the ward total get to on this thing, and does it compete with the Abyssal Axe?
Is this one-hander?
Looks one-hander, right?
Yeah, it looks to be.
It's better than Abyssal. Oh my gosh.
Really?
Okay.
Thank
so
God.
That's what
Awesome.
Warriors just said. It causes a sleep. It's better than Abyssal.
It causes a sleep because it was Dark Element on it.
Oh, okay. Right. Wowee. Okay. It took me 18 months to get the Abyssal Axe, so here we go again.
You're not even using it, though.
Okay. I do, actually. My Gilgamesh swashbuckler was using it. But
really?
Yeah, then I swapped to the Demeter halberd. Now I'm not sure what I want to do. I'm really confused about what I want out of life right now, Shabbash.
Well, maybe this axe actually has attack on it that you will use.
Yeah, if that has decent attack and it's got huge ward, that might actually be a piece that I really, really want.
Yeah.
Is the attack higher, Major, or is it just, he said it's got 4 to 6% more ward than Abyssal? Has it got higher attack? Because that's the important thing. If it's got higher attack, that's big. And Fallen Realm Shifter, can you show me the screen of what the gear drops were for the Fallen Realm Shifter?
So it looks like it's got one drop, which was this was actually...
Oh, okay, it doesn't show the drops.
Yeah, the drops is Realm Spikes. I think it was kind of teased, right. Or
it's a two-hander.
Yeah, we were on the Orna guide. I'm not sure if this was meant to go live, but yesterday, but it's here. Like somebody saw Fallen Realm Shifter as part of a quest or something like that.
Yeah.
Nobody really knew where to find it, but yeah, as you're saying, Realm Spikes. This item seems to be two-handed daggers, which, in the current state of two-handed weapons, maybe not so hot, but I think
it's got ward on it, at least. It's got not negative ward and it's got crit. But
yeah, it's got a lot of crit.
The slots, is it only 5 slots?
I can't tell from this screen, but
yeah.
I think two-handed buffs will probably be coming in one way or another.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be something that if people keep making noise, because no one's using the two-handed weapons, really. I think the only commonly used two-handed weapon is Gungnir.
Yeah, I think so.
Because that's at least comparable to using, say, a shield and a weapon, and it's got such high attack.
It's got good attack, yeah.
Somewhat useful. But yeah, this is a big deal. I didn't know this stuff. So wow, I'm excited now. Oh. So do we know if these guys fall in line with the Arisen God slot, or are they? You know how you've got
no idea.
For tier 10s, it's the last floor. For tier 11s, it's floor 16 or floor 25. Is that where they fall, or are they throughout?
Apparently, the only one to have been found has been an area guardian.
Oh, okay. Right, okay. Okay, so we're yet to kind of work out. There's always new content, isn't there?
Yeah, man. Odie is Odie's on some thermonuclear hyperdrive Iron Brew stuff over there.
Iron Brew. Maybe a bit of Blue V, hey? That's cool. Like, we hear about so many things, but then he's doing about 30 others in the background.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Awesome guy. Man, fallen tier 10 class bosses. This could be... It seems like they all drop a weapon.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's a fallen deity, what it drops. I don't know.
It might... Fallen deity might drop something that's mediocre in every way, and
yeah.
The fallen heretic might drop a pretty cool staff. Wow, that's so cool. I'm really excited by that. I'm keen to get out there and play a lot now.
What do you think fallen Beowulf would drop?
Oh, it's always been instruments, right? Some sort
of
root.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. So, I'm not sure. Wow. No, that's awesome.
It's actually got Resurgence there. It's got the red line in the passive ability.
It's got Mystic Feather and Resurgence and Saboteur.
It's literally the class.
Wow. That thing's going to mess you up.
This thing's going to be brutal. It should have two immunities though, surely, no?
Sorry?
It should have two immunities there, no? Should be immune to Dark and Holy, but...
Dark and Holy, yeah.
Nah, it's super cool.
Oh, man, that is... How crazy is that? That's really exciting. Thank you for raising that and sharing that during the podcast, and I'm hopeful that there's some people who are watching live or maybe listening later that didn't know this stuff, because I definitely didn't. That's really exciting. Yeah. We had other additions recently as well. I just saw your hands getting rubbed together. Is a little bit of excitement from you?
Man, can't wait to get my 200 realm crit thing. Forgot what it was called. Realm strikes, not realm strikes. Two-handed ward, crit build, realm shifter, cataphract, unstoppable, unhittable. Coming to get you, tits. Yeah. Tits are going down. Bunch of trolls.
That's brilliant.
Man, I'm pumped for this game, man.
Well, yeah, crit's in a bit of a state of flux, I think. Like, I think it's being played with a fair bit to try and work out what the perfect state is for crit at the moment. It doesn't appear that in its current state, crit is actually... like 100% crit is actually achievable. Even if you get your gear to 100% crit, there will be instances of not critting. So
I've got no idea.
Not quite sure what it'll land at. But I know that Odie's a super active dev who is watching and listening and paying attention to both, not just what's happening in game, but all of the voices that are out there and seeing what people are saying. And he always typically lands in a spot that makes a lot of sense for both the balance of the game, but also the enjoyment of the game, which is one thing that he's super keen on, is for people to just have fun while they're playing. So hopefully crit gets to a spot where we understand exactly what it's doing, and then we can get those realm shifter cataphract builds happening.
Yeah. I mean, I think you nailed it there. This kind of update is kind of geared at people. More people are just enjoying the game a bit more. Like
they are, yeah.
It's a game, isn't it? You got to have fun, though.
Yeah, that's it. It's super fun. And then you've got a whole heap of things on your screen right now, mate, that he's actually updated recently for more fun.
Mate, great way to end it. Great way to end the pod. Horsemen are not necessarily the best world raids, but they're now definitely not the worst. They're definitely going to be on people's radars. Have you got a list of these new adornments, Tangy?
So they exist in the Orna guide, luckily enough. So I'll be able to bring that up relatively easy. But so what's happened with these horsemen is that they essentially were forever and a day a bit of a disappointment, because if you're using their summoning scrolls, which you work really hard for, you do a lot of gauntlets and you might get one in a session of doing, like 10 to 15 gauntlets. You go home and you go use your summoning scroll all excited for that Fey Yeti.
Yeah.
And you get a third horseman. You're like, fantastic. This thing's not only just not going to drop gear that I want, it's actually also painful to fight.
Yeah. They're not easy fights.
But the other ones, they're also annoying. They've got so many status effects. They hit you with high damage, multi-strikes. There's all sorts of things going on.
Petrification.
So they were just disappointing. But now they're at least useful, because each and every one of them drops an adornment. Actually, does First Horseman drop an adornment?
To be honest, I'm not sure if First Horseman does, actually.
What are they called? There's a specific name for the adornments.
First does, actually. The one, to be honest, the one I only know the name of is Symbol of War, which drops from the third horseman. It basically gives, I think, a 2% additional increase to view distance, which you can adorn in your weapon.
Yeah.
There you go, Corio. Yep. Thanks very much, mate.
So I've got all four up in front of me now.
Right,
so this, the view distance one that's a really big deal, right?
Oh, love it.
So you mentioned at the top of the pod when we were talking, well, not the top, but when we were talking about the Herbalist stuff with Farsight, you were talking about how to date everything has been a 1.2 multiplier for your view distance.
That's right.
But this is not.
So the way these adornments work is you add them into your weapon, and I believe it just gives an additional. So on that weapon itself, that weapon initially had a 1.2 multiplier to your view distance. That now gets added up 2% per adornment. So if you put one adornment in it, the multiplier goes from 1.2 to 1.22. And as an example, I can show here actually my weapon, which I use for view distance purposes, is this Master Forged Arisen Searcher Sword. I haven't Master Forged this until yesterday. I've had this for I don't know how many months. How many slots has it got there? 7 slots. So I can add an extra 14% view distance onto that multiplier. So like that can be that will go from a 1.2 multiplier to a 1.34 multiplier,
which is crazy.
Oh. And then you can,
cool.
I mean, you could then potentially dual wield the two of them, eh?
Yeah.
Got a level 1 up again. I'm not sure I have one left.
So I started doing that the second that I saw the adornment, so I don't have my Certus sword on me right now. I think Core earlier in the pod picked on me for having a broken Ascalon on my guy, because my Certus sword's actually in the blacksmith right now. And that's exactly what I'll be doing, is I'll dual wield. I've got a T5, is it T5 Certus sword, and the T9 one. I only have one of each.
I've got an ornate tier 5 one. There we go. That's getting leveled up.
So that gets to 7 at Master Forge as well. These things are a pain in the ass because they take Solarite to level up, and I actually don't know if I have enough to Master Forge 2, because I've been handing in Solarite for quests and stuff willy-nilly, not really caring about it.
Are you not raiding Star-Lord 10 times a day? Is that not what you do in Tits?
No, surprisingly, Tits have other focus, mate. I think I have either just enough to do it, or I'm going to have to try and acquire a little bit more Solarite, and that's exactly what I'll be doing, is I'll dual wield these for extra view distance. There were people that were really against a view distance adornment.
Really?
For reasons that I can't quite understand, because I think we had the same thing happen before view distance increase was officially more widespread and people weren't a fan of it, and then everyone loves it, and then any way to expand it they weren't a fan of, and then people love it. I'm not quite sure why you would be against view distance getting expanded outside of that similar argument of people getting more access to stuff at home and you don't want them to be competitive with you, I guess. I'm not really sure, but this is just cool. It just makes a game fun. It makes a game more playable while you're at home. It means that you can sit at home on your couch and do more things. So it's a really, really good addition in my estimation anyway. So that's a really big deal. That was the symbol of war, wasn't it? And that comes from the third horseman.
Right.
So there's, from the first horseman, symbol of famine. The adornment is an armor adornment, and it will slightly protect one from all status ailments.
Slightly. Oh yeah, that's right. So this is like a light, steadfast light.
From what I understand, it's steadfast light. Like it's even not quite as strong as the Phoenix gear, which makes sense. So I think...
Well, you could add this in Phoenix gear.
Yeah, so that was the first use case that I saw written up somewhere, is loading Phoenix gear with these would mean that you basically become immune to all statuses, which is an interesting way to build. What I do like about this way of approaching adornment creation is that it makes you make decisions, right? Because right now we've been in a world where you kind of have to use ward adornments. That's, if you don't use ward adornments, you're just, I guess, stuffing yourself. You need them for everything. But if there's decisions to be made where there might be use cases for better adornments, and maybe PvP's the option there, because if you don't want to get hit by status effects. So I like it.
Good option. Also, at that, on those lower tiers, some of those raid bosses are pretty annoying.
True. And because that's a tier 7 adornment, that would help.
Yeah, you just chuck it in. You're not bothered too much about using an ornate adornment. It's going to get replaced in the future, so
true.
Utility there. All right, what's next?
Yeah, the symbol of pestilence, which actually does the same thing. So this is the symbol of famine from the first horseman, says that it protects from status ailments. And symbol of pestilence says adorning it on a piece of armor will moderately protect one from status ailments, rather than slightly. So this seems like it's a little bit better version of the first horseman adornment. So if we were to do it as a steadfast, it might be the first one's maybe 0.25 of a steadfast, and maybe this is 0.35. Who knows? That's just made up numbers, but it's a little bit better than the first horseman one.
Yeah, we don't have the numbers on those kind of things. There's a couple of people who are, pretty clued up on the number side. Maybe they will be able to get a number tied down. Yeah. But I'm with you, Danny. It might be from 0.25% to 0.5% or something, but an increase nonetheless.
Yeah, that's right. So, and if you were to think about the natural progression of what you require, and you made a really good point, because the first one's a tier 7 adornment. You're not leaning in toward yet in tier 7. No. So if we're thinking about what do guys in tier 7 need, those would actually be really useful. And then they approach tier 8 and they're starting to run into more and more status effects. And it's just becoming more frustrating. So they get the second horseman adornments going. So now they start to get even more protection from status. It's actually makes sense.
Yeah.
Third horseman is the symbol of war, which is the one that you went through, which increases the view distance.
Yep.
So that's for weapons specifically. Yep. You can't put that in armor, so it's a really cool one.
Good.
And then the fourth one is symbol of doom, which is an adornment of the final horseman, a tier 10 world raid boss. Adorning this in a piece of armor will increase the action rate and stats of your follower. Now, this one's interesting because it also comes with some negative stats attached to it. The common rarity will have negative 50 HP and negative 50 mana.
So an ornate one will have negative 100.
Yeah. a perfect ornate. Yep.
I wonder, do you think it will change the action rate? Different quality? I would guess not.
Yeah, it's interesting
I don't know.
with some of these adornments, because I guess you would naturally assume no, so you're just going to be aiming for broken versions of it.
Broken is always best, man.
Yeah. So I don't know, like at bare minimum, that gives you the variety of yes, I finally got one of these adornments. Oh shit, it's an ornate. Now I need to keep grinding. So
not another ornate.
Yeah, that's all right. So this seems like one that we'll have to work out what happens over time. I wonder whether this helps non-pet classes more than it does pet classes. Whoa. Because the action rate stuff, you only need to get your action rate so high as a pet class and pet spec before you're starting to pour stats into something or increases into it that you don't need. But it does also say it increases the stats of the follower. Now, it is an armor adornment. It says in the text, at least. This one's not a weapon adornment that's been miscorrectly. Okay, no, Oreo's just said, keep in mind, it says upon armor. That's a typo, and it actually adorns weapons.
Right, thanks.
Right, so the in-game text says armor, but it's for weapons. That's good, because if you filled your armor with this, that'd be ludicrous. So the use case then is to chuck it in potentially pet action rate weapons, or maybe something with a lot of slots.
So if you miss on the Kerberos raid, that's going to be big next February.
Yeah.
I don't think there are currently any other pet action rate weaponry. Maybe Fallen Beowulf.
We don't. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Yeah, we don't know what the Fallen Beowulf does. So yeah, that's potentially going to have a loot that. How cool would that be?
Oh yeah,
an instrument that had action rate on it.
Yeah, definitely.
Ooh.
I mean, it makes more sense because that's, as you said, that's the Beowulf weapon. But until now, it's actually not an instrument that has pet stuff on it. So
yeah,
I reckon you're right, Danny. I reckon that's going to be Fallen Beowulf's weapon.
I want to see these bosses, man. That's got me really excited.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Wow.
I don't know. This thing, it still buffs pet power, and the thing that I've been playing around with Beowulf is actually jacking up the HP super high. Like for PvP, over 33k health, 34, 35k health. So you can take, in many cases, one hit from the highest swashbuckler builds, but also it's got enough wards to possibly take some of those really heavy Ultima sequencer double hit crits that people do. But as well, Beowulf has that block chance as well, which comes in handy now and again. So
yeah,
buffing up pet power. I mean, these pets could be doing some pretty nasty things. Fey Cactus as a raider has been absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, so the negative HP hurts you in PvP for that, obviously, on the adornment.
Gets doubled as well.
Which is an absolutely amazing way to balance it. I think that's absolutely fantastic and genius to think about where it would mainly be used. I've kind of always dreamed of a world where Beowulf can use a spec that's not tamer.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So I think this at bare minimum starts to push it closer towards that. And you were talking about the high HP having a hit. How cool would it be if you could get a Beowulf going with Cataphract? So you've got ward triggered straight away, and then you've got high pet action rate and stats like you would normally have from Tamer. That'd be a cool build.
And then do damage yourself.
Imagine a pet class doing damage itself.
With your instrument of the Beowulf.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. And Dro's like swashbuckler for Beowulf. Of course, Dro's about swashbuckler. You've converted half the world. Who's responsible for converting the world to swash?
I think it's a mix of Lenny and File Not Found and Tires then Exits. And do you know what it is though? I think it's people who get wrecked turn one by a swashbuckler, and they think, what the fuck was that? And they think, Jesus, I need to do that. That's what happened to me, by the way.
Well,
that's why I started playing. File Not Found hit me, almost one-shot me when I was at Gilgamesh, and I'm like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
This is like
I think,
months ago.
Yeah. I think I got onto Swashbuckler a little bit through just watching Tyre's Theorycraft builds.
Oh yeah.
Got me really excited, and I like building different things, and I wanted to play a different way. But it's interesting. The only shit thing about Swashbuckler though is that it can't even kill half of a Fey cockatrice in my experience.
To be honest, I don't. How much damage did I do? Could you check? Because I don't actually know how much damage I did.
I just re-entered it, so I've got no idea. I was like, I'll try and get you your rewards while we're.
If you could get me a little ornate crimson pinion, please, that would end this podcast really nicely, I think.
All right, I'll do my best to get you an ornate crimson pinion. That sounds fair. So all of these changes, man, like this is awesome stuff. I'm really keen to hear from a new player.
Oh yeah.
How they're finding the experience. And I wonder whether that's something that we could nearly even coordinate through your Orna Legends Discord. And it's something that we've talked about in the past, is that if anyone was keen to come have a chat to us, we'd really love to hear their views and potentially start getting guests cycling through this podcast. You don't have to be a level 250 or a tier 10 player to come and share your views. Somebody said define new player. Look, to be honest, we wouldn't even care what the definition is. Like there's people who have been playing for 3 years, there's people who have been playing for 3 days. And, it's really interesting to hear those different viewpoints. You know, if somebody's sitting there in tier 5 and they've been playing for a couple of months, or tier 7, or they've just, recently started, I think what would be really interesting to hear is probably a lot of the sharing mechanics from a viewpoint of a newer player. So it might be interesting to hear if there's somebody who's around that tier 7, tier 8, and they've started playing with friends, how they're finding it.
Great shout.
I don't know. This is cool stuff in my books. Now I'm going to start trying to hit this fake cockatrice and see if I can actually kill it.
Yeah, I think getting a mix of newer players on. Of course, we're happy to have experienced players on as well. If you're keen to just have a chat for an hour or a couple of hours or so on a Saturday or Sunday, depending where you are in the world. Relative to Dangy and myself, we kind of cover the worst time zones. I apologies again for the timing of this podcast. I forgot that British summertime exists. What did you get, Dangy? All 4, nice.
I got all 4. So that's actually really interesting, Shabbash, that I got all 4. What I would estimate is that, and it zoomed in my eyeballs there, is that Odie's actually maybe had a little bit of a play around about with the drop rates now that we're sharing. Because I think initial sharing, if I was to split a fake cockatrice, I would never get all 4 pinions.
Mate. If you did 50% damage on fake cockatrice, you always got all 4 pinions.
Nope.
Oh, Dangy, legendary Crimson Pinion. Yes.
Oh, really? Oh, yes. Sweet. That's awesome.
And a legendary Azure. Oh, my God.
Yes. Oh, get out of here. Really?
Yes.
Get out.
Yes. Oh, it was worth waiting the extra hour.
Yeah, so I've
worth the journey.
Instances of doing 50% and not getting all of the pinions a couple of times.
I can't believe that.
So, yeah, I know. I'd said it also, and Tyres didn't believe me when I was talking through it, but yep, definitely the case. So, because I've been sharing World Raid bosses even preceding this whole thing, because I've got friends that are local to me that we can do that. But yeah, mate, 2 legendaries. What's the go there? That's ridiculous.
Super happy. I've only ever had 1 Crimson Pinion, which has been above common, which was a superior one,
really?
So doesn't really count.
Oh, really?
So yeah, I've been waiting a year for this.
Oh, gifts
Worth
from
the wait.
Australia.
I just had to travel 10,000 kilometers virtually in 1 second.
That is one of the greatest things, is if you pick up a quest from one of my inns and then you see the marker says that it's, however many thousand miles away. That's brilliant.
Hey, one thing we didn't mention, by the way, I just came to my mind. When you do travel through a wayvessel, you cannot interact with the areas there. You can't build anything. You can't take over any areas there. You can't attack or do the area garden as well. So don't be afraid of someone coming over and like stealing your territories or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, also you can now name your origin town for free.
Oh.
Yeah, so if you go in and have a look, I think you should be able to just name your origin town and there should be no cost. But the thing that's important to note with that as well is that your origin town name doesn't show up for other people. I know that people get worried about, that's, other people can see your area or whatever. There are a lot of features that make it a fairly private experience if you want it to be that way.
Good to mention. Always be safe online.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Overall, we said that we were going to talk for either 30 minutes or 60 minutes, and now we've spoken for 2 hours.
Time to kick off a red hot Sunday.
Sorry for keeping you up, mate. What do you reckon? Do you reckon that's a wrap for now?
I reckon we can thank everybody who's joined us an hour later than previously advertised. The support is always awesome, by the way. We love it. We always have a chat, Dangy and myself, afterwards. Dangy, that was awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hype each other up until the next one. No, definitely appreciate it. I think the chat's been just absolutely exceptional through this as well. It really helps with keeping us both on topic, keeping us informed, and really, really appreciate the support through the chat. And Shabbash, you mentioned throughout the podcast that you have a Discord. So you haven't probably covered in the podcast too much that you are actually running the Orna Legends website and an Orna Legends Discord where you can come and enjoy a friendly community. I know we spruik the Orna main Discord and Reddit and Facebook a little bit, but do you want to talk about the Orna Legends stuff a touch?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've heard many people say like they come into the Orna community, especially the Discord, and it's like one of the best gaming communities they've ever seen. It's not a breath of fresh air because it happens all the time, and it's, we've been a part of this for coming on 2 years myself, maybe yourself a bit longer. No, roughly the same time. There's been there's been very, very few cases where things have got ridiculously out of hand. Everybody tries to help. There's so many helpful people involved on the Reddit, and I'm going to guess the Facebook as well. I myself don't frequent there, but the main Orna Discord, which you can link to from in-game, I believe. That's run by it's admin by Veritail, who also runs the Orna Guide website, which is like the ultimate database for everything in the game. That's actually community ran. There's like a research team in you kind of go through updates of that, and that's like 99.99999% correct for like everything in the game. So that's a huge resource. Moving on to like the Orna Legends stuff that I kind of kicked off. It was more to kind of put together a few more guides rather than just kind of data. To try and provide a bit of direction for newer players. But quite a lot of people have read the guides and stuff. But on the Discord server, what we're trying to do is just kind of get a little bit more focus on written guides, but also we've got the partying feature that's just kicked off. But you can go in there now. You can like select roles. So if I want to be notified of more fake cockatrice raids, I can go select that role. When people want to share, they can ping, and it's a bit of not a trading system, but it's like an old school bartering system. You can say, I have 50% of this fake cockatrice. I want to share it with someone else for 50% of their cockatrice, and then go that way. And
cool.
And share whatever you want to share. If you don't want to share, then you don't have to share. It's a completely personal choice.
Yep.
I just think that there's so many helpful people here. I think everybody is in both Discords and even in all many kingdom. I don't know how many Orna Discords I'm in. It's a lot, and everybody's super nice, super helpful in all of them, really.
Yeah, it's definitely the case. Everyone's just pretty kind and willing to share. And now the actual test is, do we want to share this stuff? But I think there's a beautiful case of evidence that's just been presented in front of us. Is we turned what would be one set of opinions into two sets of opinions right there. So it's worthwhile.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. This is exciting stuff. But that Orna Legends Discord, amazing. The Orna Legends website, even more amazing. And your content as the 3-time back-to-back Orna Content Creator of the Year is just exceptional. So good stuff. So hopefully that can be linked in the YouTube video that goes live with this. And once again, this will remain hopefully as a VOD up here, unless there's any sort of reasons that we need to take it down.
It will remain on Twitch for 2 weeks, I believe. Then it gets taken down automatically. But
2 weeks, all right. And
it will be on.
Is it YouTube and Spotify? The other ones, is that right?
Yep.
Brilliant. Thanks, man.
Thanks for joining me super early on your Sunday morning. It's been well worth staying up on my Saturday night.
I've got breakfast, so I'm all good.
Yeah. Get that blue VB down you, whatever it is. No, it's not VB. It's what? What's it called?
It's just called V. VB's. That's very good though. That's a local beer.
Is it?
Victoria bitter. Yeah, well done. Yeah, but no, that's just an energy drink. V. Surely everyone knows Blue V. It's delicious.
Yeah, that's why I said.
But thanks for having me, man.
All right, thanks, Dangy. Thanks everybody who joined us live. Thanks to everybody if you are listening or watching this on YouTube afterwards or on your preferred podcast player. I'm Shabbash. Dangy. We'll catch you next time.
Catch you next time, mate. See you, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.